Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Attack on Titan episode review. This one's going to be for Season 3, Episode 8, which is called Outside the Walls of Orvud District. And yeah, I thought this was a solid episode. Not the best, but as a part of this arc, which I'm really liking, it continued to be interesting while not being the most eventful. Obviously, they had some big events happen with regards to obviously getting everyone out of the cave, Eren making the choice to drink the bottle of fluid from the armor bottle, and now he seems to have some level of control over the hardening ability, which he uses to get them out of that mess and save everyone. Which I suppose, I was looking for Eren to have a moment where he gets to, I suppose, develop as a character and not just kind of cry. And I liked it. It's just, I hope they continue this. I hope we don't go into the next thing and in this battle coming up, Eren's just back to the way it was before. Something else goes wrong and he's in this terrible position again, and, he needs to go through this all over again. Because, since I did the last review, I rewatched Season 1 and Season 2, and, obviously figured out some stuff in a way, but with him specifically as the main character, it is a bit frustrating to see this constant, fluctuation up and down, going from, I will save everyone, I will, kill all the Titans, accomplish what I need to I am useless, the most worthless person in the world. And, it fits in a way, but it's happened a little too much. There's been a little too much of it here, and I like that you had some of the other characters sort of pointing it out, like Sasha here, Connie, John, even Levi to a degree, but I like that Levi was the one who was more kind of serious about this, of just I hate to do this to you again, but you have to make that choice. It's up to you to make the choice of, are you going to trust that we'll get out of this without you transforming, or will transforming be the way we get out of this situation? In that It's Levi kind of acknowledging the fact that, I can't make that decision for you because I don't know which way it will go. It's completely up to you. And obviously, it was interesting the way they did it, back in Season 1 with the whole Levi Squad incident, and how he trusted them and it still went wrong, and he was forced to then transform to fight them. That was the only thing he could do. And here, obviously, he saves everyone, and it's this big hopeful moment, because that is the exact power that he needs to be able to seal Wall Maria, to obviously make the walls kind of fully, fixed again, and I suppose give them easier access to, Shiganshina in a way. Though Shiganshina is it's one of those outlier kind of areas, isn't it? The walls that kind of stem out from the actual outside of that wall again. So, it's an important thing to stop. If that sealing that wall reclaims half of the landmass that all of humanity seems to have. So, it's a super important thing in terms of just humanity, and then it gets them that bit closer to, they can more easily launch an attack on Shiganshina to get to the cellar and uncover what's in the basement with the key and what it unlocks and so on. Which obviously was what we got here. Rodrice transforms into this huge Titan. It seems to be 2 or 3 times the size of the Colossal Titan. But like some of the other Titans we've seen, it doesn't exactly form a particularly useful Titan, in that he's so big, the legs and arms are barely powerful enough to do anything. So he can't stand up. He has to kind of crawl along the ground, more or less push himself through the ground. That seems to be the thing, that his legs are powerful to drive the whole body forward, but the arms can't actually keep the front of him up. So that was interesting. And in terms of just a fight coming up, obviously what they're dealing with here is the fact that here's this huge thing that is just, the size of it creates a problem in terms of cutting the nape of this thing, when the nape is just going to be huge in and of itself. And then they seem to suggest that this has basically, 3 times the level of power that the Colossal Titan had in terms of the steam and the heat kind of coming off it. in that it's just constantly emitting that. So can anyone actually get close? So does that mean that if this is only going to be a battle that like Titans can fight? So Eren is going to be, I assume, important again to burst through that, and the armor could be the only thing that really protects him from his Titan getting injured by all of this. So they're setting that up well. Plus, the discussion of, well, okay, what do we do in the aftermath of this? Do we let Rod Rice eat Eren and hope that we can somehow use the true power of the Rice family, the founding Titan, to reverse everything, basically save humanity from the Titans? Or do we acknowledge the fact that there seems to be some level of brainwashing or something about the understanding of what actually happened in the past that would cause someone to not want to end the whole Titan invasion? So they kind of settle on the fact that, in a way, it's probably better for us that we don't have this power. That the founding Titan, we have it, but it's in someone who can't use it fully. So we have hope that one day maybe we can use it, but for now it's this, relatively kind of guarded power, in that the manipulation powers are so crazy and manipulative that it's a good thing that it's not an option to use it, because the moral implications of that sort of would start to come up. So they commit to the fact that the only option left is to kill Rod Rice before he gets to the walls and does whatever he's planning to do. And when they get back, obviously this is where they make the plan of, okay, we knew from before Historia, they plan to install her as queen because it is the rightful title. And they're creating this sort of narrative to make that happen by, okay, look, the coup d'etat worked, but the people don't want the military in power. So they want to see who the actual rightful king is, or queen, given that we've proven that the king that's been in place for so long has been a fake king. So they'll accept you, but it seems they're also adding this extra layer on where potentially in the final battle, they're going to purposefully potentially use the fact that Historia, her one caveat to agreeing to become queen is that she wants to actually participate in the final battle with everyone else. So is it going to be part of the plan where, like, the people will really truly accept her when they see the fact that she's out there fighting with everyone else? And they might set it up in a way where she is the one to, like, deal the finishing blow. Like, she becomes the savior of this district and the entirety of humanity here by saving them from this Titan. And that's something that, like, convinces everyone that she is the worthy queen. Whereas I think otherwise, if you just suddenly, like, out of nowhere, this is the queen, you don't know anything about her, you haven't seen her do anything, it kind of just feels like the same situation over again, and potentially that the military are installing their person in power, whereas, telling them the actual story plus her involving herself in the action, that seems like a perfect way to convince everything. And I like that the other characters brought up the idea of, like, given Historia's, like, arc in a way of, like, her forcing herself to be Krista, and what does it mean that you're immediately forcing her to do this now? And I like the little moment of, like, Mikasa, who was obviously having some doubts given that Krista revealed a little earlier on that she had considered eating Eren, even if it was just because she just was going along with what her father said. I like that Mikasa was like, yeah, like, when you're queen, just punch him in the face. The little issue of, like, Mikasa and Levi, that they don't quite exactly see eye to eye on everything, and they're not exactly super friendly with each other, despite, like, the connections that there are between the two of them as basically the two most powerful soldiers in humanity. And yeah, the last thing is just, like, the plan with this big attack is that they're not going to evacuate this district for some reason. And it's just like, look, Erwin, like, you've had problems in the past with this. The whole female Titan thing when it came to the end of season 1 was a huge mess because there was no evacuation that took place. I hope there's a way where they get around this without a ton of collateral damage, because it's just going to make Erwin just seem really unnecessarily cruel if in this upcoming battle tons of innocent people end up getting killed just because they didn't perform an evacuation. I hope there's a good reason, good explanation for this plan where like it's we don't plan to let him get through the wall, but we need the wall to actually like finish the fight in a way. So like he has to get close, but at the same time, what reason is there to keep everyone there? So that's what I'm not sure, and that's where like the only thing that I can think of is that Erwin wants the people to see part of this battle. They want to see potentially Historia be the one to take down Rod Rice in the end. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see exactly how they go about doing this. Beyond that, it was they focused a lot. There's some long scenes like the freeing of Eren at the start took a little bit of time, and I'm kind of skipping past it just because Eren, sorry, all these E names. Eren being like that at the start of the episode of just the constant crying. It's just like it's the frustrating aspect of him as the main character of the show, and I'd rather they sort of give him just big development to move him past that completely. Because you constantly have him go through basically these incredible ups and downs, like I said at the start, of being the only one who can help people, the only one who can save people in this situation, and then immediately put him in a position where he's just captured, he can't do anything, people are getting killed because they have to get him back, and none of it was necessarily his fault as such, but he blames himself for it the whole time. So I'm just waiting for a breakthrough with him where we can get him to a spot where that doesn't keep happening with his character. Other than that, like as I said, I rewatched season 1 and season 2, and given some of the information from season 3, season 2 becomes a lot more interesting in a way. Like we have the whole Ymir backstory and how she was injected to become a Titan. She was thrown off a wall and wandered for like however many years before she ate Marcel to become a Titan shifter. And given that, again, the whole Annie, Berthold, Marcel, and Reiner thing, them, in the end, like, obviously, they opened the walls for some reason, and then Reiner and Berthold kind of revealed themselves in an effort to get Eren, plus Annie was after Eren. So do they know he has the founding power, the power of the founding Titan, and that's why they're after him, which would suggest in a way that just the Ymir thing, that they all came from a place outside the walls, because obviously Ymir only ate them because she was outside of the walls in the first place. So there's some reveal coming, I think, down the road. It might be one of the big cliffhangers towards the end here about finally getting into like what the deal is with regards to this specific walled place versus the rest of the world, and why this place is walled compared to everywhere else. Because like we now know the core of the story, maybe not the full context behind all of it, but like okay, the power of the founding Titan, more or less was the power that allowed them to control Titans, make the walls, using the hardening powers and stuff like that. And they memory wipe people so they don't remember why there was a need to form the walls in the first place, just that they're there. So there's still a deeper context behind how we got to that situation where that king at the time chose to memory wipe all the people, chose to make walls, and how the world went from being just, I suppose, different nations to all of a sudden here's this one super isolated place with walls, and then the rest of the world is basically unknown to this place. That's still like the big mystery, but everything is beginning to sort of come together, and I'm assuming, again, like I think I said before, whatever's in the basement with Grisha Jaeger and how he knows about all of this stuff, I think is going to be very essential to all of this, because I suppose this creates a couple of different factions in that, like, most of this arc has been about maintaining the walls the way they are, of just the people who know about the way and how all this happened, maintaining it, whereas Grisha was about trying to stop this in some way. And then you have the Reiner group, those other Titan shifters, trying to get the founding Titan power back for like a different reason. In that I don't get the impression that Grisha Jaeger and like Reiner, Berthold, Annie, and Marcel were all going about things in the exact same way. So I assume that's probably where the series is trying to get to, is find out what the eventual end goal is of how do you get around this situation of like getting rid of the Titans, getting rid of the walls, reincorporating this place back into the rest of the world without completely changing like everything, or using a kind of these powers that are kind of very manipulative. So that's just some kind of theories about where things are going forward. But yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 8 of season 3. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on this episode, as well as what I had to say about it. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.